Hello, my name is Jake Williams, and today I'm going to be talking about the headwaters of the Paraguay and Parana rivers of South America. So to start off, I have a general map of South America here. I've circled the region where the rivers are in black, and I have a more detailed version of the map over here. And I've also circled the headwaters, which is the region I'm going to be talking about, in red. So there's the headwaters of the Paraguay River, and as you can see, there's the source way up there. And there's the Parana River, which the source of it is the joining of these two smaller rivers, the Paranaíba and the Grande River. The source of the Parana River is located about 18 degrees south and 51 degrees west, and the source of the Paraguay River is located about 14 degrees south and 58 degrees west. Just some general background about the rivers. They are both P2 rivers, which, as we learned from our reading over here, the tributaries form an alluvial fan when they all go into one of the main streams. So the tributaries from the Paraguay River come from the western side, and the tributaries from the Parana River come mostly from the eastern side. They're both between 460 and 66 million years old. The Parana River is, like I said, formed from the joining of those two rivers. It flows through the Parana Basin, which was formed during the Paleozoic and Mesozoic eras. And it formed through the convergence between the Gondwana supercontinent and the oceanic crust of the Panthalassa Ocean. And this is important because the modern Parana River flows down at that convergence where those crusts actually met. So that's very important. The source of the Paraguay River is south of the Brazilian state of Diamantino. There's not really a defined place where it is. But the geographic controls, there's the Andes Mountains to the west of both the rivers. There's the Brazilian Shield, which is to the north of both of the rivers, and the Atlantic Ocean to the east. And then in the middle right here is this landform called the Serra de Maracaju, and so that divides the headwaters into, but further down they do converge into one river. As for the climate, the precipitation, which is represented by the blue bars, is rather high all year round. There's a bit of a dry season from April to August, then it picks back up again up until January at its peak. As for temperature, which is represented by the red line, it's pretty consistent. It stays within the same 10 degrees all year round. So the area where these rivers are is very hot and very wet all year round. For the hydrology, the Paraguay River headwaters flow south through Brazil, through the Pantanal wetlands and the city of Corumbá. As mentioned before, the tributaries come from the eastern side of the river. The Parana headwaters flow southwest through Brazil and that Parana basin I talked about earlier. The major altitude change that I saw for the Parana River was the Sete Quedas waterfall, which is a series of 7 cascades, so it goes much lower in altitude than it was before. And as mentioned earlier, its tributaries come from the western side. As for the fluvial geomorphology, because they're headwaters, there's very little sediment. One group of scientists measured 6 to 30 milligrams of sediment in the Parana headwaters, and they did find finer sediment in the Paraguay River. Because it's the headwaters and because it's so fine, a lot of it's going to flow further down through the middle waters into the delta. And the sediment does mostly come from the Andes Mountains. It flows through a very smooth area of land, so there's very, very gentle curves, very slight curves, and so there's very little change that can come about naturally in these rivers. As for human impact, that is a different story. And the major source of human impact in this region is the Itaipu Dam, which is on the Paraguay-Brazil border on the Parana River. It is a huge source of hydroelectric power for the region, and it has resulted in significant changes in the water flow of the Parana River. For instance, those cascades that I mentioned before have completely disappeared, so now it's just one big flooded area, and it's also much drier down further down the Parana River. The upper Paraguay River has not been dammed nearly as much, mostly because it's so important for landlocked countries like Paraguay, Bolivia, and western Brazil. It's an important source of trading and shipping for those landlocked countries. As for tourism, the upper Paraguay River is nice for tourism, but a lot of rural people live on its banks, so it's probably not your ideal tourism spot. But there are still many spectacular waterfalls that exist in the upper portion of the Parana River and in some of its tributaries. For instance, these are the Iguazu Falls in the Iguazu National Park, and as you can see, they're breathtakingly beautiful. I would love to go there at some point. So yeah, lots of tourism on these rivers, lots of very nice natural ecological tourism if you're into that kind of thing. And these are all my sources. Thank you so much for watching.